Let's see. Alright, this is working. Hello, my name is Exabu, and welcome to this completely unscheduled and unplanned, almost, Panzer Corps stream. Panzer Corps 1 stream. And don't expect this to be absolutely brilliant or something special. I just need to play some Panzer Corps for the for an upcoming feature that I'm gonna make on this channel. If you don't know, the Panzer Corps series is gonna turn 10 in just a few weeks on the 10th of July, and well, yeah, I'd like to do something special for it. And it involves playing a little bit of Panzer Corps 1, which to be honest, just full disclosure, I'm not a huge fan of right now with Panzer Corps 2 out. I've played a few missions. Like, essentially the plan for me is to do the entirety of 1941 DLC, the Grand Campaign 1941 DLC from Panzer Corps 1, because I'd like to get some footage from like some of the later missions from that DLC, and I don't have the saves, so I really need to play it. Yeah, and I have already completed a few. If you're very familiar with the DLC, I have completed the first two missions in Greece and Yugoslavia, and this, as you can see, is the Crete invasion. And this is what it is. I've decided to go for naval. I really don't remember the difference between the two. So we'll have to play and see, but I've decided to go for naval because, well, why not? And I know I've got quite a lot of heavy equipment around here. I'm generally, as you can see, I usually focus very much on tanks in this game, and yeah. So let's go for it. Let's see how it goes. And I've got a very strong. What? Oh yeah, those are the names. Heinkel, yeah, HE111. Yeah, even though they're door 217s. Anyway, so I didn't change the names of them. Oh, by the way. Ooh, You know what? I'll kick the recons out. I feel like, given the British defenses, I'll probably need quite a lot of fighters. So let's go for it. And it looks like I'm done. Let's see where it leads us. But one of the things that I've realized, I just played two of the missions, the first missions. This is effectively the third mission. You have a choice of going airborne or naval on this map, but effectively it's the same mission as far as I know. So I played the first two missions, and I found them to be. Oh, what did I do? Wrong. And I found it's been like. Before yesterday, it had been quite a long time since I'd played any Panzer Corps 1, and to be honest, I found it to be okay, this is a bit too loud. I found it to be a bit underwhelming, to be honest. I didn't want to poop on the developers, obviously, which are the same people who made Panzer Corps 2, and like these Grand Campaign scenarios were made by Kerensky, who's still making DLCs for Panzer Corps 2, and he's been doing these Axis operations, the scenarios at least, for the Axis operations and everything. So I found this game, and like I don't want to poo on the people who enjoy this game, even enjoy this game over Panzer Corps 2, even though I don't understand you at all. But because this game is enjoyable, it's fun. I wouldn't have been playing it right now had it not been still fun, but I think it's a bit, yeah, compared to Panzer Corps 2, it's just simple. Let's put it this way. It doesn't have many of the mechanics that the original had. The original had. No. I did sentence wrong. Yes, so it doesn't have many of the mechanics that the sequel has. And I just, like, sometimes, and I realize that in many cases, it's not just, oh, yes, so many more features, oh, nice models and everything. No. Sometimes I realize that there are some features that make your life as a commander more difficult, or, like, give you additional options, or make you think about certain things, right? So, and take certain things into account to be careful about things, right? Encirclements is a good example of this. So, yeah, you don't have to think about it here. It's all fine. It's all fine. Do whatever you want. Yeah, no encirclements in this game. There is a kind of very vague mechanic of encirclement. Oh crap, they've got quite a lot of AAs. They've got this very vague mechanic of encirclement in the form of, oh, you stand next to a damaged unit, they can't get enough reinforcements next to it, so they can't fully reinforce, even if they could have otherwise, due to prestige and everything. That's pretty much it, and I found it, yeah, it's alright, it does its job to a degree, and obviously it's completely absent in Panzer Corps 2. Yeah, obviously it's something I had to adapt to as I was playing and was just being introduced to Panzer Corps 2. But otherwise, yes, Panzer Corps 2 is so much better in terms of these encirclement mechanics, which actually exist in the game, right? So because Panzer Corps 1 simply doesn't have a proper encirclement mechanic, and that's a bit of a problem. Right. And in addition to all of the additional features like recons doing useful things, that's one of the things that I kind of really miss in Panzer Corps 1 is the fact that recons, like the only use for the recons, oh crap, I forgot about that destroyer. It's probably going to die because the briefing has already warned us that because of the naval invasion, because the naval invasion is kind of slow, yeah, the British Navy is coming in force, and yeah. But thankfully, Panzer Corps 1 has very strong strategic quote-unquote bombers, and they're extremely efficient, extremely effective against enemy shipping. So yeah, I'm not too concerned about those British ships, because in Panzer Corps 2 they kind of nerfed the ability of strategic bombers to actually destroy enemy ships. But here I've got highly experienced Dornier 217s, and they are overstrength, so like the full set. I actually used to like them very much in Panzer Corps 1. Up to maybe like the middle of the war, up to maybe, if we think in terms of the ground campaign, maybe up to 1943. So in 1943, it just like the Soviets, and I mostly have played the eastern version of the eastern branch of the ground campaign. I've played the western much less. And the thing is, I've found out, and the thing is that in 1943, if you're not familiar with that, so essentially the difficulty rises considerably, right? So the Soviets have got crap loads of it's appropriate. So the Soviets get crap loads of everything, tanks, and most importantly for these bombers, because once again, strategic bombers in Panzer Corps 1 are extremely good in early war, and I used to like do this thing. Essentially, I generally don't like overstrength, but in Panzer Corps 1 I do artillery and strat bomber overstrength because strat bombers are so powerful. In Panzer Corps 2, I pretty much never get any strat bombers. I know there are some people who like them because of their ability to kill movement points. That's not nothing, obviously, and spamming like all of those Dornier 17 cheap bombers and everything. It's not a terrible idea, but I just never found it to be enjoyable or anything, so yeah. Right, so yeah, let's deal with those mosquitoes. And so, what was I thinking? So I've played a chunk of this DLC, and so this is the third mission. But at this point, I'm not even recording. I really want to get to the end of the DLC. To the 1941 is. Oh yeah, what was I talking about? I was talking about effectively what's why I hated strat bombers in Panzer Corps 1. Effectively, I don't hate them in Panzer Corps 1, but they get weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. That's effectively the problem with them. And oh, I've got Okay, so, and by 1943, at least in the East, you are sustaining so much damage with your strat bombers. It's inevitable because the Soviets have crap loads, I say, of AA guns and everything. That is, it's simply not tenable. It's way too expensive. At some point, I actually had to restart Ground Campaign because of that, because I've sustained too much damage trying to maintain my super over strength strat bombers because of all of the Soviets all the Soviets anti-air guns and everything. So, and that's a bit of a problem. And eventually, I realized that like for late war, they're not just not tenable. You just can't have them. But early war, they're brilliant. I absolutely love them. And they do so many things. And at the same time, I found that in Panzer Corps 2, as I mentioned, I don't know, they're just underwhelming. They don't deal too much damage. And one of the advantages of strat bombers in Panzer Corps 1 is the fact that they, barring artillery, they are the only class that can do suppression damage, right? So that can inflict suppression, and it's critical, right? So it's very valuable. Yeah, let's do some replacements. It's very valuable because like in Panzer Corps 2, pretty much everyone can do replacements, can do suppression. So okay, so you suppress with your tanks, you suppress with your infantry. Obviously, artillery is better than that. Obviously, strat bombers are okay with that. But they don't hold the monopoly anymore, like the suppression monopoly, and that's important. If you hear the noise, I'm sitting with the window open. It's pretty hot in here, and this is a very random, unprepared, nothing stream. So yeah, this is what you're listening to, people. Yeah, this is not gonna show up in my history on this channel. I'm gonna go straight to unlisted or even deleted. I just wanted to play through the DLC as I mentioned, and just to be done with it. But yes, you can expect a nice feature, hopefully a nice feature video about Panzer Corps series by the 10th of July. Oh, crap. By the 10th of July. Oh, they love their killing my artillery. By the 10th of July this year. So the 9th of July will be good enough of a gift for you, because there will the 1942 DLC for Panzer Corps 2 will release. So, but I expect it. I haven't seen it yet, so it hasn't been released to any of the people who work with Slytherin. But it seems that they're working hard on it, so probably I'll see it next week somewhere. And yes, it's coming out on the 9th, so it's going to be Friday as far as I remember. Yeah, or maybe Thursday, because I remember that I'll probably be no, the 9th is going to be a Friday. So, because I will play some Panzer Corps 2 on the Slytherin Twitch channel in July, and it will be, some of those streams will be of Panzer Corps 2, obviously of the new DLC. Right. Okay, let's skill up those bombers. Ah, you bastards. And it really, like, the rather annoying naval landings and airborne landings in this game are something I don't regret not seeing in Panzer Corps 2, because they've streamlined everything. Oh, by the way, why is it so slow? Yeah, let's like get the movement speed up. They're a bit slow. It's so slow because if you don't know, in Panzer Corps 2 you can actually like disembark and shoot, as far as I remember, or move. Yeah, you can do other stuff. So if you disembark, you can do stuff right after it. In this game, you are effectively prevented from doing that for a turn, and it's just I understand the thinking, I understand where they're coming from, but it just slows the game down, and it's just not great. I think from a pure game design perspective. I also miss. Oh, this stream is turning into like a complaint fest. But yeah, so I also miss because I actually at this point until yesterday I hadn't played this game for like easily like a year and a half at least, and so some of the things that misses came as quite a surprise, and maybe a little mistake here. But still doing pretty well. So yeah, there's gonna be complaints. There's gonna be complaints. And one of the things that I miss is the fact that, well, the ability to the forced march ability that you have in Panzer Corps 2. Some units, some infantry units have in Panzer Corps 2, and here they don't exist. So you actually, I didn't realize. I was convinced there was forced march in Panzer Corps 1, but no. And this is very unfortunate. Pretty much all lightish infantry has forced march. Oh, by the way, what are my objectives? Can I forget? So I've got 15 turns, or 12 more turns, and I just need to. Oh, by the way, I'm obviously playing on maximum difficulty. This is not this is Field Marshal, but without all of the additional difficulty features like Rommel, Guderian, and everything. So yeah, this is straight Field Marshal. I don't think I had a save that gave me access to any of those extra difficulty features. Oh, and by the way, some of those destroyers have shown up. This is interesting. You know, let's do a little bit of recon. Nice. Payback time. Excellent. And as you can see, these trap bombers are absolutely killer, which is kind of not super realistic. They did use kind of these heavy bombers for kind of the war of the Atlantic and everything, but they were more like and as far as I know, I'm not a big expert on that theater, but as far as I know, they were used like in combat, not just as recon planes, but largely no. And so you generally think of planes that actually did damage to serious damage to warships and everything in that war was effectively torpedo bombers, light torpedo bombers launched from carriers, right? And unfortunately, in this game, yeah, so that kind of strategy, that kind of approach to battle does not really apply because. No, because tactical bombers are extremely weak in this game, and I generally don't like them because they sustain damage whenever they bomb, right? So because there are plenty of units that have passive aerial attack, so effectively defensive aerial attack, and yeah, it's not great. And so I'm not a big fan of. Okay, I'm a big fan of. And I know what I'm a big fan of. It's the strat bombers, at least now. And so, yeah, I'm not a big fan of tactical bombers. They look interesting, they deal more damage, but they just get damaged all the time, and I find them to be underwhelming. Hey, Jakub. Let me say it again. So this is just a random stream. I am preparing a. Oh, you bastards! You bastards! Okay, I've lost an experienced artillery, and I'm not gonna restart. So the plan is I'm preparing a little video, or not so little video, for because there's like next month there's gonna be a 10th year anniversary of Panzer Corps series. I'm going to do a little video, or not so little video, about the series. And there is a particular thing I'd like to do with it. So, yeah, and I really need to get some footage of Panzer Corps 1 and of a specific part of the 1941 DLC of Panzer Corps 1. So, yeah. So that's the plan. So, and it's late in the DLC, and I didn't have the saves, so I really need to get there first and then play it all. That's the whole reason, effectively. And, oh, I hate this. This is a bit of a problem here. This is a bit of a problem. Okay, I need a functioning airfield here. But that's the only reason, because to be honest, once again, I'm not trying to seriously criticize people who still like this game, or obviously or its developers, but I found this to be a bit underwhelming. And easy, generally easy. Even though I make mistakes, it's kind of, there are so many things you don't have to think about in this game compared to Panzer Corps 2. And I'm not saying that Panzer Corps 2 is a super hardcore game, unless you want it to be, unless you seriously want it to be, because it can become that very quickly, but... Are you planning a video where you present how to go through standalone scenarios to Unity of Command 2? Are there standalone... Yeah, there were standalone scenarios. There were like these Operation Unthinkable and everything. I actually haven't played... I have played them a little... Essentially, I haven't... I have played, obviously, the content that came before the DLCs in Unity of Command 2, but I haven't played that content in a long time, so we'll see. So if I decide, first of all, obviously, as I mentioned before, I need a break from Unity of Command 2. A little bit of a break from Unity of Command 2, because it, like, last month, it took a big chunk of my life. I really need a break from it. I haven't stopped liking it, but yeah, I need a break. But there is going to be... I probably will not play Blitzkrieg, because I found it to be rather frustrating in many ways. But the original campaign... Yeah, if you mean like the what I did on my second channel on Slothaboomer Coach Bartek, so... Yes, there will be something like that in the future. I will probably do the original campaign of the game. Yeah, effectively mission by mission, all of these commentary and recordings. Yes, that will happen eventually. I'm not giving any promises as to when, because I really don't know. Right now, definitely not now. That's for sure, because I really need a break from it, and I want to do other stuff as well, so including Panzer Corps, this kind of Panzer Corps video as well. This is not great. God. So, but generally, I kind of enjoyed my time making that series of videos. It was good. It was good fun, and I really liked it. But no, as I mentioned, and it's going to be the main campaign. Even though I know that the developers of Unity of Command 2x2 are actually working on another DLC. Big surprise. And that DLC, they actually published something on their Facebook and Twitter. Something to the effects of it being a Soviet themed DLC. So we'll wait and see. I kind of really expected, and I see that many people expected it to be kind of the Fall Blau, the German summer offensive of 1942, as it was in the original Unity of Command. But they had other ideas, and so I saw like the which, I don't know which one, but the Battle of Rzhev by the Soviets, where you control the Soviets. So I have no clue. It might be slightly more thematic. I have a feeling it might not be what they did in the original Unity of Command with the Soviets, because they had effectively this big campaign, big overarching campaign covering pretty much everything that happened on the Eastern Front between like maybe 1943 and 1945, and what was I? I've lost my train of thoughts. So but it seems like they're not going for those kinds of battles. I have a feeling that might go for yes. It's an interesting thought. So Mauricio Moraes says probably Bagration, Bagration. But the thing is that it would be a great idea, but I don't think that's what it's gonna be, because they actually showed the Battle of Rzew, and by the time of Bagration, it was actually, I think, I actually don't remember that bit. I think it was already in Soviet hands for a long time. So they actually retook it in 43 ultimately. And so, yeah, so probably it's going to be earlier than that. My best guess right now, it's probably going to be slightly narrower in scope. I mean, it's going to be slightly more thematic in the sense that it's probably gonna maybe like cover the Soviet offensives, winter offensive of 1941, 1942. There might be something like, yeah, turning the tide in like late 1942, early 1943, but covering everything, not just southern Russia and Ukraine, which is what the original campaign of Unity of Command did. So because Unity of Command originally had both the German and the Soviet campaigns, and so for the Soviets, obviously, for the Germans it starts in summer 1942. For the Soviets it starts in November 1942, with the Operation Uranus and everything, or Uranus, and so, yeah, so they went into that. But as far as I remember, they only did kind of the southern section of the front. But they may go for the center, because there was quite a lot of fighting in the center. It's just not so very, like, lots of fighting, lots of, like, people dead in the center. But it doesn't get too much coverage. And it's, like, to a large extent, because obviously neither Soviet nor German propaganda likes it, because like the Rzew battles and everything, they were very costly. The battles in the center in 1942, 43 were very costly for both sides, especially for the Soviets, and neither of the sides actually achieved a lot. And so, yeah, they didn't like any, like, okay, so we lost quite a lot of people and material, and no, we don't have anything to show for it, so, And so, obviously, if you look like, or just look at this, like on the war as a narrative, as a story, obviously it's more interesting to look at things that really kind of quote unquote mattered, right? So the things that led to big changes, because it's just a better story. So there's more focus on the south for that period, and more focus on Stalingrad and everything that came after it. Okay, I don't see any enemies here in the west, and I think I'm doing pretty well. So it's turn 5, and virtually all of the objectives in the west are mine. And by the way, I'm playing like crap. I know. Okay, so that's an interesting idea about by Matvey Grishin. It might be actually that. So it might be Fall Blau, i.e. The 1942 campaign of Army Group South plus some Soviet themed scenarios that came during it, like in this central sector, in the mid sector of the front. Absolutely, because it might make sense, because I haven't yet gone very deeply into any of the user-made scenarios, any of the mods user-made scenarios for Unity of Command 2, to be honest. Even though there are a few of those actually on my agenda, and. Yeah, and there have been a bunch of people who made Soviet-themed scenarios for Barbarossa, so, yeah. Alright, so let's see. There's a problem with connection with connecting campaigns Army Group South and Center. I can't say that victory in Rzhev by Soviets can prevent them from not losing oil. And Caucasus maybe like bonus victory points. Yeah, it actually might be interesting. I'm really interested in seeing that. So that's an interesting perspective, and I feel like it might be true. They may still go for Feldblau for German 1942 campaign, but maybe with some sort of a kind of additional center bonus, right? It might actually that might be interesting. I'm already looking forward to something like that. But we'll have to wait and see, given how quickly they actually make these DLCs and how good they are also. I'm suspecting something is going to happen, like maybe an awesome or something. That'd be great. I obviously don't know any of that, even though I've been lucky to have had some contact with the developers. But I have no clue, and I'm really not that interested in finding out, to be honest. Because it will happen. These guys have demonstrated that they can deliver the goods and deliver them on time, not waste our time or anything. So why worry? It's gonna come. But yes, I really enjoy the idea of 1942 still being 1942, but 1942 plus, because after all, don't forget that Barbarossa DLC is huge by the standards of Unity of Command 1, because Unity of Command 1 had obviously the original game had two campaigns, like Soviet and German, and both of them were 16 missions long, right? And so, yeah, and just Barbarossa, just the German parts of the Barbarossa that they did, is 24 missions. And by the way, Blackturn, which covers effectively the same period, so it covers Barbarossa in Unity of Command 1, was also 15 or 16 scenarios only. So they are creating much bigger campaigns right now. So I think they could do something that encompasses much more. That'd be very, very interesting. It can be very interesting in winter 1942-43 scenario with delocating the Stalingrad pockets. If you are one rev, you'll receive extra reserves from Manstein to save Paulus. Historically, Manstein lacked reserves because of Rzhev assault. Yeah, they really, like, the breakout in real life, the breakout was not possible at all. They just didn't have the forces, but it might be interesting. That might be interesting because obviously the center, even though once again our usually our attention is focused on Stalingrad and everything that came out of the south. There was a lot of fighting in the middle, in the center, and yeah, something like interconnectedness that Unity of Command 2 is very good at. So you have consequences. Even if you'd like do all of the missions perfectly and everything, you still get interesting results, right? And it's actually one of the things that I miss. One of the features of Unity of Command 2 that I miss in Panzer 2, because I'd like to have something like that, and you generally don't. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, it's time to start advancing. So our next step is going to be Retimnon, yes, and then, oh crap, this doesn't look great. Heraklion, the capital of Crete. Yeah, let's keep advancing. Let's keep advancing. Yeah, but absolutely, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see some sort of a consequence for victories in the. But the thing is, the problem is that they actually showed a mission. They showed a mission that was played as the Soviets. So there's probably going to be some sort of Soviet-themed content. That's the thing. It was a Battle of Rzhev of sorts. I don't know which one. I actually don't even remember exactly what it was in the screenshot that they showed. But I'd say there's going to be Soviet-themed stuff as well. So that's for sure. Maybe they're making a Soviet-themed DLC. Who knows? Which I for one, actually would not be against, by any means. To be honest, I'd like to see some Soviet-themed official content for Panzer Corps 2, for really, because they've been. Of course, it makes sense that they're going for the Germans and everything. On the one hand, it's kind of almost traditional at this point, with the way Panzer General was, Panzer Corps 1 was, yeah, so it had much more focus on the Germans. But obviously, there's also the kind of the popularity factor. So obviously, the Germans are the most popular faction of that war in all of the media and everything. So they're obviously going, like, it's a good business decision to do that. But at the same time, I'd really like to play as the Soviets, and there's a lot to play as. I'd really like to see someone do, like, these lighter, obviously these lighter war games to kind of try and simulate maybe the Soviet sides of the Barbarossa. That might probably be very difficult in terms of the AI and everything, but yeah. I probably did not use that battleship right, anyway. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's fine, Matvey. It's not a problem. Don't worry about your English. It's fine. And yes, from what I read actually about like all these breakouts and read and watched videos about, the thing is like it wasn't kind of this like. Sometimes, like, the idea of a breakout from the Stalingrad pockets and everything is presented like it's, like it was some sort of political decision that we must make a stand or something. But it seems like it was a very pragmatic decision. That even if some sort of a breakout was possible, it would have been extremely costly and probably would not have netted the Germans any benefits. But at the same time, by early 1943, the Germans were also extremely starved. Mostly Germans were extremely starved for resources, and mobile troops were, well, they loved their resources, all of the fuel and spare parts and everything. So yeah, who knows? But generally, it wasn't just an ideological, as far as I know, it wasn't just an ideological, some sort of a political decision that they went for. No. It was just really kind of military operational strategy, military strategy-based decision. Oh, and by the way, one of the things that I kind of don't enjoy about Panzer Corps 1 at this point is the fact that suppression doesn't stay. Or like you suppress a unit, and then you suppress unit, you attack it, and it then loses all of its suppression, which is I didn't think it makes any sense. Yeah, it's like there were many factors. Like maybe Palace wants to save the core of the 6th Army, but it was impossible. Yeah, it's definitely. I'd say that it's definitely wasn't like ultimately it was a blunder for the Germans to expose themselves to a to this pincer attack by the Soviets. Obviously, it was still like very much a shoestring operation to begin with, because the Germans were stretched thin and did not have a choice of not being stretched thin. Okay, so they were using everything they had. So like 30% of all Axis forces engaged in Feldblau in the German summer offensive of 42. Were not Germans, so 30% it was Romanians, it was to a lesser degree Hungarians, it was Italians. So yeah, it was 30%, and it was still not enough. But like once they were in the trap, probably it wasn't a terrible decision to like did what they did, because well, once again, like Paulus was not like an unknown, some sort of a loser of a general. He wasn't assigned this task because he was a terrible general or terrible commander. Like, the task of taking Stalingrad and everything. He was a very prominent general by that point, and for a good reason. Oh, come on, die already. Even though I'm kind of regretting even sending this. This is actually the infamous Unschedld, isn't it? Oh yes, yes. Yes, I left the picture of. I changed it to the picture of what was it? A sludge beefsteak. Big McLarge Huge from Space Mutiny. Don't watch that movie, but watch MST3K. So, but Unschedld is an incredibly powerful hero you can get in this game. Pretty much the most powerful. So, +3 initiative, +3 movement, and you've got this insane commando unit in an infantry. Yeah, and I know some people actually hated it. Hated the guy and never took it. Because it's a bit OP, it's a bit gamey. But, whatever. I accept whatever the game throws at me. Provided it's good for me. Okay, oh, yes, let's attack those guys, and they'll retreat. So I can comfortably attack them with tanks. And they didn't tank the village. Huh. Maybe expand the... Yeah, I really miss the ability to kind of dismount and everything. Yeah, that's something I'm really missing from Panzer Corps 2. The fact that the infantry can dismount after moving. Like, if it doesn't move spend all of its movement points, it actually can dismount at the end of travel. And it would have been great here, but you can't do it, so... yes. And, like, once again, like, back to bashing Panzer Corps 1. Yes, it's, like, it's one, like, just another disclaimer. I'm not bashing Panzer Corps 1 because it's a terrible game on its own. It's a great game. But, unfortunately, it's just worse than Panzer Corps 2. It's been completely supplanted by Panzer Corps 2. And there are so many things, there are so many quality of life improvements, mechanical improvements, that it's just, like, there are reasons to play Panzer Corps 1, and I have one right now, but there are more, like, sensible reasons, like, not, in addition to just, like, wanting to make a video about it. And, effectively, right now, Panzer Corps 1 has more content for it, obviously, right? And it's pretty much, like, super accessible. It's like, last time I checked, it was like, what, 25 euros? Like, standard price for Panzer Corps 1 Gold. Right, so... Which is insane, right? It's extremely cheap, and probably right now there's the summer sale on Steam. It's probably going for, like, what, I don't know, I haven't checked. 10 euros or something. Yeah, so there's crap loads of content, and there's easily 1,000 hours of gameplay in that package. So it's good gameplay. It's fun. It's reasonable. It's great maps. There's, like, the whole shebang. It's brilliant. So you're getting a lot of content. So obviously with 1942, it's really, Panzer Corps 2 is already breathing down Panzer Corps 1's neck. Obviously, it's still very far away, but it's already 5 DLCs, like 5 full-fledged big DLCs, mostly great. And, yeah, and it's gonna get better, obviously. But for now, still, Panzer Corps 1 is great value for money and has got lots of content. And if you like Panzer Corps 1 or like the idea of it, you're gonna enjoy it. The second problem, say, with Panzer Corps 2 is the fact that it's, well, it's more demanding for your computer. Yeah, right. So pretty much you can play this game I mean Panzer Corps 1, or like on a three-legged chair, pretty much. I mean, like, I could, like, change the battery in my old 2007 Acer netbook and probably run that game. Yeah, they only, like, it's still functional, but not even the battery, I think the charger is down. But you can run this game on pretty much anything today, right? That can run a Windows game, okay? And so there's that. So you really don't need a strong computer to run this game. And Panzer Corps 2 is a bit demanding. It actually has got better. It's like on release, I remember it being not super optimized and kind of laggy sometimes. But like I'm lucky to have actually upgraded my computer recently, and like as recent as April. And prior to that, I actually wasn't doing, like, I did a few streams of Panzer Corps 2 for Slytherin, but then I stopped doing that because effectively my computer could handle just playing the game, but couldn't do anything else in addition to it, like streaming, recording footage. And if you look at some of my videos, some of my older videos of Panzer Corps 2, you'll see there's lag. There's lag in the footage. Exactly because of that, because the computer just couldn't properly handle the demands. It probably couldn't properly handle the game. Alright, and so, yes, you can play this game, the Panzer Corps 1, on pretty much anything today. It's not very demanding, and to be honest, to be dead honest, I know that so much care went into the graphics of Panzer Corps 2, and I like them. But at the same time, there is a quality to these kinds of pure sprite-based 2D graphics. And I kind of miss them from Panzer Corps 1. I like those in Panzer Corps 2. I like Panzer Corps 1 graphics are kind of compelling. I know they'll probably feel very outdated to most of the audience and everything. And it's once again, it's a good business decision to go for kind of this, yeah, popular acceptance. It's just reasonable. I'm not criticizing it. But at the same time, yeah, I kind of like this style. It's simpler, but sometimes it's clearer also. Alright, let me look at the chat. You know what? I'll finish the mission, the scenario. Still have 7 turns to go, and I'm unfortunately not very fast, not advancing very fast. Okay, let's do the planes, and let's do some recreational strafing, and maybe a little recon. Let's see what's ahead. Seems to be not much ahead. Yeah. Oh yeah, some artillery, some infantry, but nothing serious. Nothing very well entrenched. So yeah, let's end the turn, and let's look at the chat. Okay. Supply mechanics in PC1 are not great. So obviously, as you say, Matvey, they slow the game down because sometimes you really need to send your troops back or stop them because they're out of supplies. These Bisons, the Sturmpanzer ones, are the worst example of it because at some point they're the only self-propelled artillery you have. And they have, like, what, 4 shots in their reserve, which is absolutely nothing. They run out very quickly, and yeah, they just slow you down, but you need to use them. Alright, so Strategic Command, I have not played. I think it was a Slytherin game. I haven't played it. I think I've seen it. AT and AA are pretty much useless in PC1. Obviously, AT is great. AT because it doesn't provides any supporting fire against hard targets, as like it does in Panzer Corps 2. That's absolutely a weakness of the system of Panzer Corps 1. And AA are also because they have longer range. Because all of the AA guns in Panzer Corps 2 actually convertible. You can actually switch them to be used as largely AT guns, but they're still can be very effective against infantry as well, thanks to their high rate of fire. this is not great. Getting the artillery closer, yes. I really want to break up with my tanks. Yes. And let's see. Huh, interesting. Core level units on world map, production diplomacy options. Okay. Yeah, I'll look into it. Strategic command. Huh. A cross between Panzer Corps and Hearts of Iron. I may have seen it. The name is very familiar, but, like, it doesn't kind of connect to any picture in my mind. I certainly haven't played it. How long has it been? Yeah, it's almost an hour. I think I'll do, like, 90 minutes of this in total. I have other things to do today. Well, actually, not too many, but I don't want to play too many video games either, because it's kind of like 2 days of national holidays here, and I just want to relax, not do anything at all. This is almost work, in the sense that I'm playing this game for a video, and yeah. And kind of this is the middle of the day when I should probably do something something brainier. Right. But we'll certainly end this specific mission, and it's about to end. I still have 6 more turns, and I think I'll succeed. It looks like I am. I am succeeding. Yeah, let's advance. And I mean, by the way, interestingly, the fact that Unity of Command, Panzer Corps 2 actually simplified the supply system, in the sense that you don't have to worry about your planes, because they always return to the airfield if they have an airfield to return to, which also makes more sense. And obviously, every unit restores their supply if they're not encircled at the beginning of their turn. It's a really interesting feature, because it's kind of simpler in the way it's more intuitive for the player, but at the same time, it doesn't destroy any kind of strategic or tactical options or things to consider. Because, there are no defenders. Oh, there are defenders. Yeah, Panzer Corps, you sneaky. Right, so, yeah, let's continue advancing. I feel like I'm behind my schedule. But the thing is that it doesn't deprive you of kind of things to consider tactically and tactical decisions, because obviously, if you're encircled, if your unit is encircled, it doesn't get any of the ammo or supplies. And second, there are certain units that, well, there are like balancing things about kind of the amounts of ammo a unit can carry. For example, I love rocket artillery in Panzer Corps 2. Right, especially the self-propelled ones, the Wurfhammer 40. Right, and it's brilliant. It's absolutely great for 1941 DLC in Panzer Corps 2. And its only problem is that it's terrible defensive weapon. It's okay. It's an okay defensive weapon, but unlike artillery, it only has 2 charges. So if, for example, you attack, you shoot once with that artillery. Right, it only has one defensive fire left. So if there are a bunch of Soviets counterattacking, well, you're screwed. Your unit is probably screwed, because it's only getting one defensive fire from the artillery. So you sometimes have to consider it, and so it kind of creates maybe not many interesting options, but certainly some interesting options and considerations to your builds in your core force. And okay, so I'm gonna have some rocket artillery, maybe a couple of traditional artillery units as well, and that's the great thing about Panzer Corps 2. It allows so many options in terms of just, oh, we've got a bunch of juicy British ships here. Oh yes, HMS Dildo and HMS Orion. Yeah, let's go for Master of Orion. Yeah, I really don't want them supporting the ground forces. And obviously, the options for building your core force in Panzer Corps 2 obviously are supplemented by the fact that you can actually buy the core slots mechanic, right? So you are encouraged to have different types of units and maybe try to adapt your strategy to the number of core slots you're given and the task you have. Obviously, it still kind of results in you getting lots of heavy tanks and everything, but it's still more diverse and more lifelike than what you see in Panzer Corps 1, where you just buy. It's very easy to get lots of prestige, just like in Panzer Corps 2, and you just buy the best tanks, you buy the best fighters, you buy the best artillery, and you buy a few infantry, the best obviously, and you're done. You're fine. You're happy, and just use it. Because pretty much Panzer Corps 1 is, obviously there are kind of caveats to that and exceptions, but effectively it is a 3-class game, especially later in the war. You have your tanks, you have your fighters because you really need them, especially in late war, and you have your artillery, and the rest is kind of conditional. Sometimes you need it, sometimes you don't, and some things you really needn't worry about at all. Okay, this is not great. Okay, at least I'm destroying enemy ships. Let me see. So okay, so the tanks retreated there. You know what's? Yeah. I'll destroy the cruiser that way. And okay, developers could make some multipliers to the efficiency of supply for some scenarios. Like, yes, like that feature of Unity of Command is really nice. So the efficiency of supply, but in Unity of Command, that efficiency of supply thing actually comes with many other kind of game mechanics features. So like effectively every type of terrain can be conducting a certain amount of supply, so changing the probability of how likely you are getting supplies or not in a particular hex. So it might take a lot of effort. It might actually take a lot of effort to introduce this feature in Panzer Corps 2, because obviously I'm sure you will agree that Unity of Command 2 is a much more supply-oriented game than Panzer Corps. Any Panzer Corps, right? Especially, like, certainly not Panzer Corps 2. And it's very much a feature and very much kind of one of the main tools, battle tools you have in your arsenal. But it might be interesting. It might be interesting. A little bit more depth to it might be interesting. I'm not sure it'll happen in Panzer Corps 2. I have a feeling it will not. It looks like, and I'm not blaming, once again, I'm not blaming the developers or Slytherin or anything, but I feel like it might be too much for what Panzer Corps 2 is. Like, okay, like move these miniatures about and have some fun World War II themed fighting, right? Because this is what it is. And maybe adding those additional mechanics. They might be cool, they might be really cool for hardcore players, but I wonder if it'll kind of be great for their bottom line. Hello, Timo. Yes, it's a turn-based World War II game. If you haven't noticed, I've done crap loads of content about these. Yeah. But if you're interested to return, play the newer games, so Panzer Corps 2, or okay, if you're a cheapskate and you don't have a strong computer, go ahead, be my guest. Panzer Corps 1 is still great. This game is still great. But Panzer Corps 2 is great, is much better, and obviously Unity of Command 2 is... I'd say, interestingly, to be honest, to be dead honest, in all fairness, let's put it this way, I think that if we compare if we compare, for example, the first game and the second game between Unity of Command and Panzer Corps, actually, I think Unity of Command took a much bigger step forward than Panzer Corps 2. Panzer Corps 2 obviously is a huge evolution, everything, but it feels like it's not just like a step forward. I think it's also a matter of. It feels like Unity of Command 2 compared to Unity of Command 2. Unity of Command 2 feels like it's the game they really wanted to make right from the start. It feels like it's what they really wanted to make, and Unity of Command 1 is like a result of many compromises, right? Because they were a small team, like 2x2 is like still, as far as I know, are not a big team by any means. So, but they were just starting. It was, as far as I know, their first game, and so yeah, they went took the safer route and everything, and. Yeah, and went for Unity of Command 1. I really don't want to play Unity of Command 1, certainly, right now, because Unity of Command 2 is the right way to play that system. But with Panzer Corps, obviously, when they just started, I don't know where they actually started the development of the game, but it came out almost 10 years ago. Almost exactly 10 years ago, and obviously, they were not creating a new system. Though, in fairness, Unity of Command 2 is also based on Panzer General, like Panzer Corps, except that they went for a bit of a revolution. But originally, Unity of Command 1 was a mod for Panzer General 1. And I haven't played it, but I've seen screenshots of it. Okay, so this actually, the southern route was not a very intelligent choice. But anyway... I went there, and I did it. Okay, let's embark my... And by the way, I like the way paratroopers work in Panzer Corps 2 as well. But anyway, so with Panzer Corps 1 versus Panzer Corps 2, obviously they already had a very well-functioning system to play around with. Yeah, so it's Panzer General. They're largely based the game on Panzer General 1, but it's a very well-proven, well-liked system that it's not a very kind of this. They're not sticking their necks out too far, right? To in making this game, right? So and so Panzer Corps 2 was more of an evolution of Panzer Corps 1, like improve the things that didn't work too well. Maybe make the player take more interesting choices and have more choices. Do I attack with these tanks? And I don't think so. I'll wait for the artillery to suppress theirs. Okay, let's do another turn. I think I'll finish it. I'll probably finish it early, even. And the AI is doing a very stupid thing here. Oh yeah, that's what it's trying to do. And that's actually one of the things I really don't miss in Panzer Corps 2 also. It's this tendency of the AI to plop reinforcements right in front of your nose when it sees that it's losing. Because this is really annoying sometimes, and sometimes it's really deadly. If you miss one of these flags, they actually... Soviet AI loves it, because Soviets have BT-7s and everything, really fast and super cheap tanks. Well, yeah, you've missed a flag somewhere behind, so they'll plop a tank there. It's really fast, and then on the last turn, they take one of the main objectives back, because it's not defended, it's very behind the front line, and everything, so, yeah, thank you. Thank you, AI, because I'll have to replay the entire mission right now. It's not great. Okay, let's suppress the artillery first. But I have a feeling that I probably will not be able to take these last objectives on turn 14. 14, probably the airfield is going to be mine. But I don't think I'll go any further than that. And you know what? Let's get rid of that AA gun. Yeah, it needs to go. Okay, and let's bring in the infantry. No. Why are you so slow? But at least I can bring in my bombers right now. I should have done that earlier, but anyway. And the thing is, I'm kind of scared of sending these tanks into the forest also. And problem is that I'll probably plop another unit there. Okay, come, artillery. I really need you right now. Okay, resupply. This is getting tense. This is not one of the easier missions, clearly. But at least let's suppress the artillery. They're pretty much the only guys that are making my life hell at this point, or preventing me from succeeding in this mission. And some more paratroopers will also be useful. Yeah. I kind of say because conscripts. Was it because they were cheap? Was it because of they're cheap that you could actually spam lots of them? Because obviously infantry was beefed up in Panzer Corps 2. Actually, it's one of the things they improved in the game. And I haven't played as the Soviets pretty much never in Panzer Corps 2. So conscripts can be nasty. Even though they're not super strong infantry or anything, they're super cheap, and they're not very easy to kill. Like, they're not dying with one shot, usually. But generally, I kind of agree that heroes can be sometimes game-breaking, and there are people who kind of really don't use heroes or avoid them in their playthroughs. I'm not, generally, especially in the recent DLCs and the recent content where the developers are experimenting with all of the different heroes given to the AI, which is kind of leveling the playing field. Okay, it's time to actually dislodge these extremely well-entrenched enemies. But I don't want to waste too much of my artillery on these guys. I want to actually kick these guys out as well. But they're not going to be difficult. Yeah, I think I'll take the last objective as the Heraklion on turn 15. Turn 14 is not happening. Okay, let's finish them off. Oh, come on! Oh, finally, they're dead. Okay, and I think I'll do... you stupid Panzer Corps 1 mechanics. Yeah, I've got these tanks, and they should do the trick. But I really need to suppress them first. Yeah, because these guys have no... Oh, they have somewhere to run. Oh, crap. Okay, let's force them to retreat anyway. I hope I will be able to. Nice, nice, nice. Please die. Oh, come on! And I can't move in. Oh, God. This is terrible. This is terrible. They're exerting a zone of control there. But at least I'll bring in my artillery for the last turn. For the last turn. This is getting tense. And I won't be able to drop my paratroopers, drop my air force, airborne infantry. God. Yes, yes. The relaxed days of June. Yeah, the relaxed brain of Hexabu. Anyway, let's advance, let's move in and everything, and let's see what the last turn brings. Let's hope it's retreat. Oh. Oh. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, it's interesting. So you can actually... that's interesting. So, conscripts... Oh, yeah, that's right. So, obviously, I knew that they had, like, large size. But, yes, I'm not a big fan of overstrength. So, I'm not a big expert on that. Even though... Panzer also actually made the mechanics of overstrength so much more fun. I really enjoyed my time when I tried it. But... Oh, but or end. Yeah, I really don't want to waste my best infantry on all of these screening guys. Okay, go away. And yes, you can overstrength them, and I can imagine that they could be extremely powerful. If treated correctly. If you can let them survive to become these absolute monsters. Okay, so I've got here, finally. And the artillery has... Oh, God! And the artillery has... okay, it's time to suppress the bastards. This is terrible. This is frustrating, but I'm guessing I'm gonna win this one. Let's just... I'll have to destroy these guys. Obviously. But they need to die. They need to be dead. Okay, let's see. Okay, so destroying these guys is not difficult. Unless it is. Oh, God. Am I gonna lose this one? No, let's see. Okay, I'm moving in my tanks. Let's do some more artillery. This is not great. Oh, come on! Yeah, I'm guessing I'll have to restart this one. I mean, reload. No, I have to reload. No chance here. Crap. Like, terrible rolls. Actually, yeah, so in Panzer Corps 2, overstrength is more interesting because of the core slots, exactly. So, it kind of introduces its own restrictions, but I really enjoy, and I enjoy the fact that Panzer Corps 2 is much more open about the ways actually overstrength affects your units, because in Panzer Corps 1, it's kind of a bit obscured. You probably can look at probably the combat details interface, which is also, you don't have a button here. You have to look into the manual to actually find out about it. Okay. Next try. So, first and foremost, I need to focus on these engineers. Heavy weapons, guys. And I have a feeling I should stop. I have a feeling that I should do so. Yeah, I forgot about this 3.7-inch AA gun, and I could probably deal some damage to it as well. So that I can actually bomb these heavy infantry guys properly. Yeah, let's do... let's damage the artillery. Yeah, they're fully suppressed right now. Excellent. Yeah. So I needn't worry about them. And let's see. And let's see if I can send someone not valuable to... Oh, come on! Okay, at least the predicted damage has been dealt. 9, 11. Oh, come on. Oh, I could... This is not great. Oh, is that a fact? So in PC1, overstrength is more powerful. Interesting. Oh, in a sense that it's this. It's like it doesn't. Overstrength units don't occupy more slots. Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with you. Yes, that's effectively what I said. So yeah, absolutely. Okay, please die. Please die. No, they're not gonna die. And at this point, I have nowhere. Yeah, I made a mistake. I screwed it up. I screwed it up completely. This is awful. And I'm not going to be able to... This is horrifying. You know what? I have these... I have these Italian bombers I don't care about, so... But no, I have no one to attack them with. And they'll just sit there. God! Yeah, okay, so the plan for today is to finish this mission with a brilliant victory, but so far, I've not been very successful doing that. Okay, so let's maybe change the strategy here. Do I really need to? Okay, I need to kill these guys. I don't care about my tank losses at this point too much. Or my bomber losses. I need to shut that gun up. And I'm not gonna care about the artillery. Let's damage the... What losers. Let's suppress them. So they're almost there. But I'll probably have to soften them up a little more. Yeah, let's bomb these guys. Bomb these guys. Okay, artillery's out of commission. Let's see, do I have any other bombers? No. Let's strafe them. Strafe everyone. Okay, this approach is taking some losses, but I think it's worth it. And let's kick the tank out. Excellent. Finally, it's been easy. I got lucky there. Let's do this. And now I will not have to worry about this unit destroying my tank. And at this point, yes, I actually might have a good chance of getting somewhere. Yeah, let's destroy this infantry. Timo, no, neither PC2 nor UOC2 have any campaigns dedicated to Pacific Theater. If you're looking for this kind of system and Pacific Theater, look at Order of Battle. Its advantage is, first and foremost, it has something about the Pacific Theater. As far as I remember, the base game actually has it. And the advantage is that the base game, they've got a slightly different kind of monetization strategy. So they... did I make a mistake here? They have a slightly different monetization strategy. So the base game is free. So you can go and look at it. It's the same system, virtually it's the same Panzer General system, but with its own perks and features. But I know many people... I personally kind of didn't get into it. Somehow I tried it. I've got a bunch of DLCs. Slytherin have given me a few DLCs. And I... Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Thank goodness. Finally. Done. Done. Great. Actually destroyed all of them. Excellent. Nice. Nice. Decisive victory. So, if you're interested in Pacific Theater, look at it. So they have a bunch of. Obviously, it's probably not going to be like very Navy oriented. You probably should look at other games. Actually, Slytherin has a bunch of those. I'm not too familiar with them. Obviously, because like kind of the war game specialists. But yeah, Order of Battle has some island hopping. As far as I know, they actually have stuff like in Burma and everything. So yeah. To be honest, I tried little bits of it, but maybe I'll have to take another look. I don't find the system as compelling as that of, say, Panzer Corps 2. But the fact that there are certain theaters of war, certain theaters of World War II that are not present in any of these other games is really interesting. So I might actually get into it, but I've got plenty of games to play. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay, so Operation Mercury has proven an astounding success. Well done, Herr General. The Balkans are now fully under our control. The remnants of the British and their allies have fled to Africa, and our southern flank has finally been totally secured. This campaign is just getting started, though. Your new orders are to quickly prepare your troops for Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of the Soviet Union. Oh, Timo, you just want to charge your Japanese units in a massive banzai. What was the game? The Rising Storm. The Rising Storm. It's the kind of the standalone expansion to Red Orchestra 2. It's a twitch shooter. Like a pretty good World War II themed twitch shooter. And actually in Rising Storm 1, in Rising Storm 2 is about Vietnam War. And so in Rising Storm 1, you actually could play as the Japanese, so it's like Americans versus Japanese in World War II, and you could actually do banzai charges in that game. And it was fun. Sometimes it's fun. Like, people generally rarely did it, but when it happens, because it requires some cooperation within the team, and it's not always there. But if it happens, if you have like a nice commander and people know what they're doing, it's a lot of fun. Because effectively, it kind of gives you damage bonuses. You just run with your swords because you have swords. You're the Japanese in the Rising Storm, and you swing with your sword and prepare for a swing with your sword, and you run. And so you automatically go into banzai mode. And if there are a bunch of banzaiing soldiers in the area, so all of the Americans in the area get crap loads of suppression, like blurry screens and everything, and like terrible accuracy. So that might be fun. That might be fun. So, with the start of Operation Barbarossa, armies that stretch from the Baltic Sea, by the way, slightly more than 80 years ago, stretched from the Baltic Sea to the Black Sea are on march against the Bolshevik. We have taken against the Bolshevik. We have taken every measure possible to ensure complete secrecy of our invasion, so you should expect the first enemy units to encounter to be totally unprepared, and easily swept aside. This shock will not last indefinitely, so make the most of it while it lasts. So we don't have any choices. We need to play... What's the mission? Okay, we've got better tanks, and this mission is... let's look at this. Let's look at the library. So... it's Minsk 1941, right. So, and I need to play some of these last missions for my video, so yeah, I'd probably go with Zhytomyr, Zhurivka and everything, so because they're in Ukraine, there are probably more plains and everything, because this is north. And it's probably gonna lots of forest and swamp, and yeah, I generally don't like that. Even though I generally liked the Army Group North in Unity of Command, I actually liked Army Group North much more than I did Army Group South. Okay, let's overstrengthen my strat bombers. I think we'll end this stream because it's a decent way to end this. Actually, finishing the mission. And I actually lost one of my highly experienced artillery units. At least there are no naval invasions. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I'm really happy about that. Okay, so let's... And this is another thing that I'm missing from Panzer Corps 2. The button to reinforce everyone at once. And you have to reinforce, like, every single unit. So, I can actually buy 2 more. And by the way... Let's upgrade the Panzer E's to Panzer F's for just a little more armor. Certainly worth it, and doesn't cost anything pretty much. Just a few slabs of armor, like in the front, and be done with it. Okay, so Fs are done. I still don't have any interesting... Oh, okay, so... Oh, 17 centimeter case are range 3 still. Come on, give us 4. Well, at least there's Wolframen. Wolframen is interesting. You know what? I'll buy a couple of... okay, I'll have one cup of one Wolframen, and I'll buy another one. Because it might be interesting at some points. Because I don't remember how good they were in Panzer Corps 1. But I really enjoy them. They are extremely powerful in Panzer Corps 2 41 DLC. Oh god. Oh god. This huge map that I need to cover. What do I do? And what is this? Recons. Okay. And decoys. Okay, so... Okay, let's set everything up. I'll set something randomly, and we'll see how it goes. Lots and lots of artillery, as usual. But in... Timo, Rising Storm is good fun, but it's not a very new game, so it came out like in 2014. And I haven't played that series since like maybe 2016. So it was fun when back when these games were new. Red Orchestra is great as well, Red Orchestra 2. If you're prepared to play as the Germans, or if you're prepared to tolerate wearaboos, sometimes, because there are like lots of extremely experienced players who play only as the Germans. I remember it was back when I was around, and I pretty much always play as the Soviets. And so, but Matvey, AG North was the most passive throughout the war. Yes, it kind of stopped being like their priority, partially because the Finns did not want to help the Germans too much, for obvious reasons, and they had their limited priorities, and obviously it's not like a huge deal. Obviously they wanted resources. It was like there was strategic choices, and Germany was really running thin on their resources at that point, by the time even when they started like Barbarossa and everything. So obviously the south was more important, and like there are opinions which I don't disagree with, that I don't disagree with that like the turn for Moscow in 1941 was a bad idea for the Germans, because they couldn't have toppled the Soviet government, and they couldn't have. I think that was pretty much, and taking Moscow was even more difficult than Leningrad. It was like they could have probably encircled it, but wouldn't have ever taken it with the state of the Red Army at that point. Probably like if they could have starved the Soviet Union for resources, especially for stuff like they needed for mobile troops and everything, like fuel, etc. Yes, but otherwise no. And pushing in the south probably would have been a better idea. Anyway, I think it's been almost an hour and a half. I've got other things to do. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Thank you for participating in the chat. I highly appreciate your comments, and some of the comments about Panzer Corps 2 and, well, World War II. So this is completely unplanned, and I just went to it, and I'll play some more of Panzer Corps 1 in my private time, because I'd like to do some recording. I don't want to see that cursor. And I really don't want any streaming without the cursor, because like it's a good way to show stuff to people. And so I'll play more of it, and you can expect some content about this series, about Panzer Corps series, on its 10th anniversary on the 10th of July. And so, yeah, this is what's happening. And probably there will be some content in the coming weeks about the new DLC of Panzer Corps 2. As soon as I get it, I will start publishing it, so there will certainly be cracking videos about it, in addition to some other stuff. Alright, so this is it for now. Thank you for listening and watching and commenting, and